the person who got you here may not get you to where you're trying to go. And she was great when she first started, right? She was great for when we first hired her, right? That first year she was here, she was great. But as we started to do more deals, we started to grow the business, we started to hire more team members. She began to slow us down in business. And sometimes people, they may get it, they may want it, but they don't have the capacity to do the job. So for her, she got the position. She wanted it, but she just didn't have the capacity. And it's on us as leaders to or if you're listening to this and you own a business, it's on you as a leader to make sure that you have the right person in the right seat, because she was the right person in the wrong seat, one, but then two, she just didn't have the capacity to do the job. Yeah. She didn't have the capacity to do the job.
Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm the man with the plan, Jeremy Mathis.
I'm Joshua. I'm going to give you the game, Mathis. And again, guys, welcome to another episode of the Expose and Expand podcast show, where we expose you guys to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions.
Are you the business owner that use your business as your personal piggy bank to fund your lifestyle? Are you the business owner that tells your employee what to do, they go and do it, y'all meet up to see what they did, and you realize they ain't do what you asked them to do? Or are you the business owner that's putting in long hours, but you don't see an increase in your income, or your business is not growing? Today's show is for you. Today we're talking about one of our struggles, and we're going to be talking about business maturity. This topic is so important to us that we actually sat down and we created the Mathis Dictionary, and we came up with our own way to define business maturity. And the way that we define business maturity is business maturity are the lessons and experiences turned into principles on the everlasting journey to pursue greatness in business. I'm going to say that again to make sure y'all catch that. Business maturity are the lessons and experiences turned into principles on the everlasting journey to pursue greatness in business. Now, y'all probably like, what the boys talking about? I want y'all to understand business maturity has nothing to do with age, but it has everything to do with business. We had to go through so much in our life and go through so many experiences to become mature in business. And when you become mature in business, that allows you to create principles, right? And we even came up with a formula for the principles that we've been able to come up with in our life. Our formula is lessons plus experiences equals principles. And from those principles, we use those principles to guide us in our decision making, to guide us in life, and to guide us in business. And today, guys, we're excited about today's topic, business maturity. And we're going to help you guys break down all of the principles that we've been able to come up with through becoming mature in business.
I got to ask you one question. When you pulled that shirt out your closet, you was like, I'm going to kill him with this one. Huh?
Oh, my boy, I'm killing him with this. This fresh? What you mean?
You think you fresh right now?
Fresh to death. Like Antonio Brown say, put that in on.
But on the topic of business maturity, one thing that comes to mind about business maturity is when we started Dr. Clean. And at the time, it was just you and I. So for you guys that don't know, Jeremy and I had a cleaning company before we got started into investing into real estate full time. And with that cleaning business, it was just Jeremy and I, and it was one of our mentors who we partnered with. And the mentor, his responsibility was more so just to help us on the strategy. And Jeremy and I was supposed to go out and implement. And for us, we got to implement it. We got going. We got moving with the business. And our mentor at the time, he had one of his top sales guys. His name was Scott. And Scott came to us and was like, hey, guys, I see what you guys are doing with your little business. It's cute and all, but I think I can help you guys grow this way faster and way bigger. And we said, how can you do that? He said, look, guys, as you know, I'm a sales expert. I could come in and I could turn your sales up. I could, triple or 3X. I could triple or 4X your sales essentially overnight. And for you and I, we looked at him like, yeah, that sounds good, but nah, we all good. We don't need your help. And we didn't say we didn't need your help. We said, well, look, we can hire you to come in and do sales for us. And he said, nah, I don't want you guys to hire me. I don't want you to pay me at all, but I do want a piece of the business. I want some equity in the business. And for you and I, we instantly said, nope. We didn't even think about this. We didn't think about it. We didn't consult anybody about it. We just instantly said no when he came to us. And as we look back on it, we probably should have brought Scott in. And the first principle that comes to mind for me is we were equity hoarders. We were equity hoarders. If we would have brought Scott in to come in and help us with sales, how much faster would we been able to grow that business?
Facts. So, Josh, one of the things that I want to make sure that you guys understand the principle is don't be an equity hoarder. So often, just like me and Josh, we see so many people, and me and Josh we definitely have done this in the past where we try to keep all the equity for ourselves in hopes that, okay, when we sell this thing or it gets really, really big, we take everything and we don't got to split it with anybody. At least that's the mindset that we had back a long time ago. So when you guys are out there doing business, you got to think about it in such a way where who can come into this business? If I give them a piece of the pie, they're going to help me grow this pie into way bigger, with something that's way bigger. So principle number one that we want you guys to understand is don't be an equity hoarder.
One thing that that comes to mind when you say equity hoarder, and it's one of our good buddies, Tim always says, 100% I'd rather have 25% of a watermelon as opposed to 100% of a grape. And so often in business, especially when you're first starting out, you want to own 100% of everything. There's nothing to own. Your business is this big, right? As opposed to looking at the bigger vision and saying, who can I bring in? Who can I collaborate with that can help me get to where I'm trying to go much faster? And I don't mind giving the right person equity to help me get this business going in the direction.
Guys, key point that Josh said, the right person. We ain't telling you to go out there and give everybody, Sally Joe, Willie Mae, equity in your business. You got to find the right person that's going to help you do what it is that you need to do. And there's different ways that you could make sure that that person is just not taking equity and not upholding their end of the bargain, with like making sure that you have something in the agreement. So let's go back to, let me take that example that Josh used from our cleaning company and Scott. What we should have done, as opposed to telling Scott no, was, hey, listen, your equity is tied to your performance. And we should have created some type of metric, meaning if you bring in X amount of customers, X amount of revenue in this time frame, then you get this percent of the business. So when you're giving out equity, make sure that you're doing it in such a way that you can protect yourself and the long-term prospect of your business when you're doing it.
Yeah, no, that's good. So another thing that I think about when it comes to equity hoarding is the other opportunities that have come our way, and we said no because we've had that limited mindset. You think of anything else of when we had that equity hoarders mindset?
Nothing specifically with equity hoarding. You trying to lead into something?
Man, you remember when Bill came to you. I'm surprised you don't remember this. Bill came to you and he was like, look, man, help me grow my business.
Yeah.
Help me grow my business.
Yeah, so what Josh was talking about was a buddy of ours. He did it the right way. He had started up an internet marketing company. It was him and the mentor that was partnered with us in our cleaning company. They had partnered on an internet marketing company, and they were growing the company, and he needed help growing the company. And they didn't have money. They were growing the company, but as you know, when you're growing a company, you don't always have a lot of cash. You got to reinvest it back into the business. You're not able to really hire employees, and he wasn't able to hire an employee, and he needed help with the operations. So he comes to me. He was like, Jern, I'll give you 30% of the business. You just got to come in and run operations. He did it the right way. And make a long story short, we missed out on a great opportunity because now they sold that business. They grew it like in 5 years. They grew it to $12 to $15 million in revenue. Then they sold the business and then they brought it back, and now they're operating it even better. So another miss for the Mathis.
The point, the reason I wanted to bring that up is I think another part of business maturity is just listening. Yeah. So often we get into business or we get our heads so far down to where you don't look up and you don't see anything that's being thrown your way, or you don't even entertain the opportunities that are being thrown your way. So for us, that was a key lesson that I've learned in business, a part of just maturing as a business owner and understanding that you don't have to take on every opportunity, but it's okay to listen. It's okay to see, okay, what could this opportunity do for me? How much time do I have to put into this opportunity?
Facts. As you were sitting there talking, I thought about another story where our old assistant, right? One of the things that you guys got to understand, and this is another principle that we've implemented in our life, which is let go of people in your business that is not helping the business. Do it fast. Don't do it slow. Do it very fast. You hear the term so often, hire fast, fire faster, or be slow to hire and fast to fire. Gosh, that's something that is a huge, huge principle that me and Josh have had to learn the hard way too many times. We had an assistant, and this lady was amazing as far as her trust level. We trusted her to the sun, to the moon, and back. Like, she had access to our bank accounts. She signed checks for us, which is crazy in hindsight, but we trusted her that much. And because we trusted her, we equated trust to us being loyal to somebody that we should have been cut her off a long time before, prior to what we did. So she was with us for about 18 months, and she did okay work, but we knew that she wasn't going to take us to the promised land. We knew that she wasn't the right one. But what happened when you don't fire fast is you begin to grow an attachment to people. You begin to understand what their issues are, and you make their issues your issues, and that's exactly what we did. She had just purchased the house, so we felt bad. Like, we knew we should have let her go prior to her purchasing this house, but she purchased the house, and we felt like, dang, we can't let her go now, because if we let her go, she ain't gonna be able to pay her mortgage. And then something happened with her family where we was like, you know what, man, let's just keep her on to help her out. All the while, the business is starting to go sideways because she's not as strong as we need her to be. Because that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link, is 100% true. And you really don't understand it. And I didn't understand it until we started to realize our weak link is making us very, very weak, right? So we kept her here for 18 months when we should have let her go really in less than a year. We knew early on that she wasn't the right person for us, but we kept trying to make her be the right person. And what that turned into was a lot of frustration, a lot of agony, a lot of pain, and a lot of wasted time doing things that she was supposed to be doing that we had no business doing, but we had to do it because she wasn't getting it done right. So not only were we paying somebody to do something, but we had to come in and work at it ourselves, and that led to so much pain and agony. So guys, if somebody is in your business and they're not performing the way that you need them to perform, do not be afraid to fire them very, very fast, because if you don't, I guarantee you're going to be thinking back to when you heard this story. You're going to be like, dang, I remember the Mathis twins told me I should have been fired them and I should have got rid of them. You will remember this story if you don't let people go fast. So
the point that came to mind for me is the person who got you here may not get you to where you're trying to go. And she was great when she first started, right? She was great for when we first hired her, right? That first year she was here, she was great. But as we started to do more deals, we started to grow the business, we started to hire more team members, she began to slow us down in business. And sometimes people, they may get it, they may want it, but they don't have the capacity to do the job. So for her, she got the position. She wanted it, but she just didn't have the capacity. And it's on us as leaders to or if you're listening to this and you own a business, it's on you as a leader to make sure that you have the right person in the right seat, because she was the right person in the wrong seat, one, but then two, she just didn't have the capacity to do the job. Yeah. She didn't have the capacity to do the job. Like you said, great woman, right? If she needed us as a reference, as a character reference, yes, all day, definitely hire her, pick her up. But understanding that she just didn't have the capacity for what we're trying to get to.
Fact. So we talked about don't be an equity hoarder, principle number 1. Principle number 2 that we talked about was hire slow, fire fast. The third principle that I want to talk about is you need to learn from Bill Belichick, and you need to create a system. You need to create a system that anybody can come into and they can operate well within that system. Essentially, don't rely on star players. If you don't know who Bill Belichick is, he's the Patriots head coach. And the Patriots were successful, and they have been successful a long time because anybody can come into his system and they can do well within his system. The reason why this is important is because Josh and I had to learn the hard way that you don't want to rely on star players. That's really the principle, right? Don't rely on star players. When you rely on a star player, if you live by that star player, you're going to die by that star player. And essentially, that's what we did.
But when you say star player, what does that mean for the audience?
So what that means is we had somebody on our team who was our top sales guy. And this guy had been with us before we had to let him go for 2.5 years. The first year he came in, he produced $975,000 revenue himself alone. Then year 2, he produced over $1 million in revenue himself just by being on the phone for us. And the first year was awesome. He was great, no problems, no issues, great for the culture. Culture meaning our company culture. And in the second year, we started to see certain issues, but we overlooked them because he was the star player. And just so often as you see what happens with star players, they get preferential treatment, and that's what we did to him. We gave him special treatment. And what that means, he came in the office on time, but when he came in with his personal issues that he brought into the office. He came in and he started to become a cancer because his personal issue, he allowed his personal issues to affect everybody in the office. But again, this guy's producing for us, so we sitting back and we dealing with it because he's the top producer, and we have built our business to rely on him. Before you know it, his personal issues started to overtake him, and it started to get really, really bad to the point where we had to ultimately let him go. And when we let him go, the business suffered because we had built not our entire business around him, but you can say that everything I won't say start with him, but he was essential to our core. From that, we had to learn, do not rely on a star player. You need to build a system where, God forbid, something happens to one of your employees, somebody can step right in and they can get to operating as if nothing happened. If you look at Bill Belichick, the reason why the Patriots, I'm a Dolphin fan now, I'm go Fins up, but you got to respect what Bill Belichick has done. And if you're a business owner, you need to look at what he's been able to do, which is, I'm going to build the system and you need to be able to fit into my system, not you come in and I build my system around you. Guys, make sure you understand that, because that was something that it really affected me and Josh real bad, and it helped us. It was an experience that helped us gain business maturity, which turned into one of the principles.
And one of the things, too, when we had that quote-unquote star player, once we let him go, we felt so relieved. And it was like, man, we should have let this guy go earlier because he was a cancer. But then, two, we don't want you guys to fall into the trap that we had, which was, man, he's a producer. He's making us money. We can't let him go. And that's not the way to grow a successful business. Like Jerm just said, you have to build a system to where the business runs off the system and not the player. So whether that player comes into work, whether that employee comes into work or not, this business is still running. This business is still growing. So that was definitely a key lesson that we had to learn. My question to you, though, when it came to this quote unquote star player, why do you think we kept him so long? Besides the fact that he was producing,
it was 100% on me. I take full responsibility for that. So he was in sales. If you guys are listening to the past episodes, this is Jerm. You know that I manage all sales for us within our real estate investment firm. And I put up with it because, number one, he was producing first and foremost. He was bringing in the revenue. But also, I was lazy and I didn't want to go out and have to go and retrain somebody else. This guy was training people. He was a great trainer. He really is a great dude. But he just had those personal issues. So the reason why we kept him, because you came to me a couple times like, yo, like, this is becoming a problem. Like, we need to do something about this. It's fine. Me being lazy and not wanting to take action on it, and really just being lost in a situation, it was all on me, really. And I take full responsibility for that.
So, but it drives home that point, which is you want to build the business around the system. Because you was like, man, I'm lazy. I was lazy. I didn't want to hire somebody else and train them. But if you build a business around the system, the training should have already been in place. Yeah. The training should have been in place. The videos or the how-tos or whatever you needed to do to hire that new person, that should have been in place. And guys, that drives home the point of, this is why it's important to have a system, right? So that when people come in and out of your organization, you're not wasting too much time, or you're not wasting too much of your team's time to train that new person. If you have a system on how you're going to train people, that should already be in place. And boom, you just throw them into that system, and the system takes care of everything else.
Facts, 100%. So don't be lazy, guys. Like, going back on that, it was a couple months of going home at night asking myself, what should I do? Should I keep him? Should we let him go? And it was Josh. To his credit, he made it 100% my decision because it was my department. But just going back, I just wish I wasn't lazy, because I let it fester for so long, like a couple months, where other team members started to question our leadership. Other team members started to ask, like, yo, is this the organization that I want to be a part of, because they accept this kind of stuff? Because we told people, when you come into this organization, we expect excellence. We expect winning. But he wasn't exhibiting winning behavior. He wasn't modeling that for us. And a lot of people started to question us. And that was really, I won't say the demise of the business, because we're still running it. We're still going well. But it was a huge turning point for us where it was a scary moment. It was a very scary moment.
Yeah. So and again too, so many lessons that was learned throughout that whole entire situation. And we were saying one thing, but doing something completely different. And as the leaders, our team, they didn't say anything, but I can only imagine how they was feeling. They allow this guy to do whatever he wants. And what we end up seeing is their behavior started to change. They started coming in late, leaving early, not, hitting their KPIs, not hitting their numbers, because they was like, hey, they allow him to do it, so I could do it too. They ain't gonna fire me. They ain't let him go. They won't let me go. Right? So
why this feel like a therapy session right now? I feel like we really talking through something.
But because again, as I think back through it, I'm sitting here and I'm just like, man, we learned so many lessons, and it's just like we would be so much further along in our business journey if we would have been let him go, or some of the things that we talked about. But again, that's the beauty of business. That's the beauty of a journey, right? You learn these lessons so that we can come on the show and share with other people, so that our mentees, we have a coaching program, so that we can teach them and say, hey guys, don't make this mistake. Because as we're on the calls with our coaching students, a lot of these mistakes that we've made, we're able to help them overcome, or we're able to help them avoid these mistakes.
Talking about mistakes, guys, part of why we started this podcast show was for you to avoid the mistakes that we've had to struggle through. We started it so you guys can to give you guys guidance, to give you a clear path to overcome, or not have to overcome certain things that we've had to overcome. So do us a favor and do your family a favor. Don't just listen to these episodes and just sit there and not do anything. If you know that you're an equity hoarder, figure out how you can stop being an equity hoarder. If you know you have a cancer in your organization right now, tomorrow, if you listening to this in the morning during the day, you need to go in the office right now and let them go. Or if they're virtual, call them right now and let them go. If you know that you need to do something in your business, go do it. And that's why we started this show, so that you guys can overcome certain things that we've had to overcome, which led me to another point that I wanted to talk about. You brought this up in the production meeting, was don't count your pennies before they come in, which is another principle that we have for you guys. Do not count your pennies before they come before you actually get it. You want to tell them.
So don't count, but he basically means don't count your money before it's in the bank account. And for us in our business, right, when you're doing real estate deals, early on, we were doing a lot of wholesale deals, and we're still doing wholesale deals, but we would get a deal under contract. So for you guys that don't understand it, I'll give you a brief overview on what wholesaling is. So we would get a property essentially it's selling paper. We would get a property under contract for $100,000, find a cash buyer who's willing to pay $120,000 for that property, and we'll sell them the rights to our contract so that they can go ahead and close on it and flip it, or use it as a rental. So the reason we love wholesaling is because the cash conversion cycle is so much quicker, right? And when you're flipping a house, it takes you anywhere from 90 days to 6 months or more to get your money. When you're wholesaling, our cash conversion cycle was typically about 27 to 40 days. So which means that, guys, from the day we got a property under contract, we got paid within 27 to 40 days. So a lot of times in the past, we're doing these wholesale deals, we're getting them under contract, and we was ripping them 50,000 here, 40,000 here, 20,000 here, making large chunks of change when we were wholesaling these houses. And there were several times where we would look at our reports and say, okay, we got 6 deals closing, we'll make $120,000 this month. And then we start making plans for the money even before it was in our account. We started to spend the money even before it was in our account. We started to go to the club and spend the money even before it was in our account. So that's what we mean when we say, guys, don't count the money until it's in your bank account. Regardless of whatever business you're in, if you get a new contract with a customer, don't assume that money is already yours. Days, weeks, even hours before that new business venture, that new customer you just added, they may say, hey, I don't want to do business with you no more, right? For us, in our business, we wholesaling deals, right? At the time of closing, the buyer backs out, we have title issues, or the seller may not want to sell anymore. And we went ahead and we started counting that money. So for us, that was a big, big lesson that we learned.
Guys, if you don't hear nothing on this show, do not count your money until it hits your bank account. Because we went through so much pain and so many sleepless nights because we made plans and we actually spent money before thinking that, okay, we're gonna have money coming in, and it didn't even come in. And that put us in a position, oh, we're gonna meet payroll. Are we gonna be able to pay ourselves? Are we gonna be able to do this? Because we're accounting for money that's not even that's not even counted for. So guys, please make sure you have a cash flow management system in place where you know that I'm not going to even account for this cash until it's in my account, and then I'll add it to my budget. Then I'll add it to my P&Ls. We had to learn that so many different times, and this was a lesson where you think after the first time of us doing it, we would learn. Gosh, this is something that we did multiple times, multiple occasions, unfortunately for us. So make sure that if you are doing that, stop. And if you haven't done it, don't ever do it, because that's something that can really affect your business in a bad way.
But I think too, we'll be doing the audience a disservice if we don't drive home that point a little bit, because I don't think that is a business issue, right? That's more so of a personal issue, right? Where you start counting the money before you get it, because we know other business owners and they don't do that. So why do you think we counted the money before we got it?
Because it's a good question. I would definitely say just not having that type of money before. Never not being used to making that kind of money, and always having plans for it, and always wanting to do more in life, and always wanting more in life. So, well, next month we finna pay ourselves X amount because we got this coming in, and then you go and you make those decisions, and then you like, oh shoot, that money didn't come in. So I think is number one, not being used to making that kind of money. It really affected us. Also, number two, not being exposed to somebody telling us like, yo, don't count your money. Don't count your money count your money once it's your bank account. You think about that. A lot of what happens to people is that they don't get exposure. That's the whole premise of this show. So we didn't have somebody in our back pocket telling us like, yo, don't do that. Because you think about it, we kept doing it until we got to a point where we like, you know what? We've been in this business long enough. We had to go through a lot for us to say, you know what, we ain't gonna do that no more. It ain't just happened because we got better financial management. It just got to a point where we got mature in business. Why do you think people do that? Why do you think that happens?
It goes back to the point of instant gratification. And we like most people, instant gratification can be summed up in a few different ways. But for us, it was just, again, we never made X amount. So if we closed X amount, we would be able to make X amount. So we wanted to make that money much sooner. Or we wanted to go to the club. We ain't been to this club. This is a new club that's open. We want to go see what it's about. So we go out and do it. Or we want to take this vacation. We ain't never been to this place before. So I want to go do it right then and there. So it's just not understanding the importance of delayed gratification.
Facts. Which leads me to, because our life was full of drama, and I thought about another principle was data, not drama. Guys, data, not drama. And what that means is don't allow your emotions to make decisions for you. Allow the data to make the decisions for you. For so long, and I'm talking about we just got better at it this year, and we've been in business for 12, 13 years, where we are now allowing our decisions to be guided by data and not by our emotions. So just to be clear, because I don't know if I was, when I say data, not drama, allow the data, meaning what are the numbers saying? Allow the numbers to guide your decisions and not your emotions. You got anything that you want to
So I think when he says numbers, guys, when we run our business, we have KPIs, which stands for key performance indicators, and it gives us leading indicators and lagging indicators, right? So opposed to saying, like, I'll give you guys a leading indicator in our or lagging indicator in our business is the amount of leads that we generate. So we say, hey, if we generate X amount of leads, that means that we should be able to close X amount of deals, right? If we're closing X amount of deals, we can go out and, and if we're closing X amount of deals at the profit margins of what we want to close those deals, we should be able to go ahead and spend more money on marketing. So before, the old us, when we was using drama to run our business, we were making those decisions and saying, hey, we have X amount of money closing next month, assuming that that money was going, assuming that that money was going to come in. We'll 2x or 3x our marketing budget. That money doesn't come in, and then we're stuck, or we put ourselves in a bad situation, as opposed to saying, or as opposed to saying, hey, this is how much we've actually made, so this is how much we can allocate to marketing. Or another example that I can give, excuse me, another example that I can give about data, not drama, is when it comes to our flips, right? Sometimes we will flip a house, or sometimes we would look at it and say, you know what, I like this area, so I'm gonna flip a house in there. That's a drama filled decision. That's an emotional decision, as opposed to looking at the numbers and saying, hey, it's been X amount of cash sales, or it's been X amount of sales in this market, or the houses are moving. Instead of the house is sitting on the market for 30 days, in this market where I want to go, in this market they're only sitting on the market within 10 days. So if I made a decision based off the data, that lets me know I need to go to the market where, when we put the house on the market, it's only sitting on the market for 10 days as opposed to 30.
Guys, that understanding this has become critical for us to excel in business. When we say, you know what, we're not going to make the decision based off our emotions, because so often you think that you're doing the right thing. You think this is what the customer wants. You think that, okay, this is going to work out, because your emotions are telling you that, when you clearly, if you look at the data, it tells you something else. For us, we know with this podcast show, the way that we're growing it is through shorts and reels through Instagram. The reason why we know, and the reason why we put out so many shorts and reels, is because we know that's how people are starting to listen to us. We know that's how we're growing subscribers on YouTube. We know that because we're looking at the numbers. How many subscribers are we getting? Where is our watch time coming from? How are people finding us? From shorts and reels. We could easily say, you know what, we're just going to sit in this chair, and because we giving out good game, at least we think we are, we giving out good game, that's how we're going to get subscribers and people are going to share it. No, the data is telling us, guys, you need to put out more shorts, you need to put out more reels, so that guys can continue to grow your listenership.
One of the things that when it's data over drama, you grow your business. It's an easier way for you to grow your business. You're not guessing when you're making the decisions. When you're using data to make the decisions, you don't have to guess. When you use drama, you're guessing, you're using your emotions, and you don't know if this is or is not going to work. So when you're using the data to allow or to drive your decision making is easier for you to grow your business. And that's one thing that we had to learn, because before we would just say, oh, we feel like doing this today, so let's try it. Man. And then hope that it works. But when we started making decisions, as you just described when we started making the decisions based off the data, the business started to go in the direction of where we wanted to go. We started to make more money.
That boy really hit on something. We really used to just wake up and just make a decision based off how we feel, as opposed to looking at the data. Guys, we've been in business 12 years, and we're just now, in year 12, starting to make all of our decisions based off data. This is a struggle that we had to overcome. It's not even a struggle. That is a disease. It really is a disease that we had to overcome, because once we started to really look at the data and really allow that to make our decisions for us, it made things so much easier. It made our conversation so much better, because if you got a business partner, he may want to do something, or she may want to do something. You may want to do something else. It makes the decision easier. Hey, what are the numbers telling us to do? It makes the conversation better, because, hey, what are the numbers telling us to do? Not your opinion, not your thought process, but with the numbers. And we're not saying not to trust your gut at certain times. We're not saying that. But allow the data to speak to you more than your emotions actually speak to you. Yeah. Anything else that you want to add to this conversation?
Man, this has been an insightful conversation, and this is an episode that I was truly excited about, because it's just, again, sharing our struggles and some failures that we've had on this journey, in order exposing our audience to that, so that they can expand and grow.
I ain't gonna lie, I think we need to have a part 2. Let me recap, because I got more that I want to talk about, but I think we've given them enough. So just to recap the principles, guys, remember, the way that you get business maturity is through principles, and those principles come from lessons plus experiences equals your principles. So today we talked about, don't be an equity hoarder. When you outgrow some of your people, let them go. So hire hire slow, fire fast. Build around the system, and don't rely on the star player. Cash flow management. Don't count your money before it hits your bank account. And data, not drama. And we got way more stuff, and we got way more principles. So we look out for part 2 of this episode. It may not be the next one, but we definitely are going to finish this up because it's so many more principles that we want to share with you guys that's going to help you guys grow. So, guys, thank you for listening. Remember, we have the gentleman's agreement, and the gentleman's agreement for those of you that don't know, go to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, leave a comment. We listen to everything. If you listen to the podcast on a podcast player like Apple or Spotify, Google, make sure you hit that follow button. Leave us a review. We read all of the reviews. We look at them and we use them to grow. And the reason why we call it the gentleman's agreement because we can't see you do it. So, guys, make sure you guys share this with somebody that needs to hear it. We appreciate you guys listening. Expose and expand. Peace.
Peace. Have a good one.